we are here with a group full of ladies who are all at different stages in their facelift recovery process. They're all staying at our Piermont Hideaway, and they just kind of wanted to share what their process was like traveling in, recovery, and just be very kind of transparent with what it's been like for them. So we are on day 13 after surgery, day 11 after surgery, and day 4. I wanted to chat with you guys about what has been the easiest part of the recovery process for you. What have you been surprised by as far as what's been easy versus what has been hard? What did you think was going to be hard? What did you think was going to be easy? And how that kind of actually aligned with your actual journey?
I would say the easiest part for me, or the most surprising and best part, has been all the post-op care. I feel like very supported, and I feel like I'm not on my own. And just the care, the wound care, and seeing every day in the hyperbaric chamber, and a lot of attention to the details of how to optimize my recovery. I think that is probably the biggest plus.
Yay, I love that.
Yeah, I agree with you on that piece too, because the most surprising part for me would be just having the opportunity to see you all every single day. Mm-hmm. And I feel like if I did this close to home, I probably would not have had the opportunity to go in every single day to see and just have the same type of treatment. As far as for me, what was the other part of it would be, I only took like the harder medication, like a half early on, and I haven't had a Tylenol or anything in 5 days, and I just took Tylenol just for a couple of days. So to me, the really surprising part was the minimal amount of pain.
Yeah, and that's something that I commonly discuss with people at the consultation, that people don't believe, and then it's when they're a weekend, they're like, oh yeah, okay, so I took a half a pain pill the first night and that was all I really needed, or I'm using, something to help me relax before I get in the hyperbaric, if it's something where that makes you a little bit anxious. But it really is done in a way where we try to keep you as comfortable as possible with the least amount of medicine, because that can slow things down if you're groggy and not feeling good and all of that. So it makes you feel clear and refreshed much quicker with the least amount of medicine. So even with our anesthesia process, we don't give those medicines to help.
Mm-hmm. Really, there was never a hard part. I mean, maybe the hard part is not being around my kids, but everything's been so smooth.
Yeah, and for transparency, her daughter is in a soccer playoff.
She's in the national championships right now.
And so I'm streaming that right now. So this is a mom that takes things very seriously. I know this is going to be a hard one for you, but what has been, you mentioned kind of being away from your kids, so traveling and being away from friends and family.
So my daughter's on a club soccer team. We travel everywhere. So I'm a really good traveler. No problem traveling by myself. No fear. I think the hardest part was the first night coming out of that anesthesia. I was scared, but I was taken very good care of. Your anesthesiologist and your husband,
Dr. Larson,
he stayed with me an extra 2 hours after my procedure because I felt so nauseous. He stayed until 7 o'clock at night, sitting next to me until I felt good enough to leave.
Yeah, and we always have, we definitely have a recovery RN, but we have a doctor. It's either me or Dr. Larson that stays there till the patient is completely ready to go. And if necessary, Dr. Larson will even help kind of bring the patient to either the recovery house, the VRBO, the hotel, wherever they're going, just to assist in that process. Again, we like the high touch point. It also, for me, I think he does it for me more than anything, of my level of kind of care and worry about the patient is, he's like, nope, I got them tucked all in, and then I know that I can sleep good that night, that they're really being taken care of.
Yeah,
so
good team.
I'm glad that we got you feeling good afterwards too. What about you? What would you say was the most challenging or surprising part about this for you?
I would say I really did a lot of research, so knowing a lot of what to expect.
And she is in the aesthetic industry, so that's something that is always such a huge compliment for me, for somebody from the industry still, chooses me, because you see behind the scenes, everything.
Very much so. So I've researched for years, and so for me, the one thing I will say more than anything is just how grateful that I am that I have a mother-in-law who I call her my bonus mom, to be able to come out here and to help to take care of me, because I probably couldn't have gotten through most of this without her assistance with me.
For emotional support.
Yeah, and I think probably just being away from home and being away from my husband and the animals and just, yeah, for an extended period of time.
Definitely. Your turn.
The hardest part, I would say, is, I know it sounds very vain, but not feeling like I can look myself in the mirror.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that sounds really vain,
No,
but just the
that's-
fact that my hair was dirty, and I
Patients
just,
hate that.
So
Like
that's
they're
what-
having
it's
to wait
everything.
5 to 7 days
Yes.
to wash your hair, the bruising, the swelling, the lumpy,
Yes.
bumpy, the not like looking kind of recognizable at the beginning. Like I have patients text me and they're like, I can't get into my phone.
Oh,
Because they're like,
yeah, that happened to us.
Oh, yeah, that's the other day.
Exactly, and so that initial stage where stuff is kind of just looking weird can be challenging. And so some patients are like, okay, I'm just not gonna look in the mirror.
That's what I
Others
do.
are like day one when I take the wrap off, like studying everything. Everybody's different in how they handle that process. But this is like, we are doing this so that we do look different and refreshed and youthful and all of that. But there is a short-term losses, long-term gains journey with this, and that is definitely a common thing that I hear from patients.
That was my hardest part. I know that sounds so crazy.
No, it's
vain,
very, very common.
But that and not feeling and not thinking, well, I should say, thinking I could do it on my own without the support, because I'm a very independent person. And I'm like, I can travel. My husband wanted to come with me. My kids wanted to come with me. And I'm like, you guys, I got this. You guys do your own life. I'm good. Don't worry about me. And then I got here and I was like, wow, I'm alone. And that felt really hard. That was hard. I think that was harder. And then I met Janet and Tracy, and I bonded, and Janet took care of me like a mom. And just, I'm like, I think I needed mothering. You know what I mean? It's like you do. You kind of like just need that extra layer. And even though you might have a nurse or a caretaker, you don't know them.
Yes.
And so having someone with you, and you travel, I mean, I'm from California, so traveling that far and getting on planes and making connections and not having a buddy, I think
Can be challenging.
Can be challenging.
And that's part of why we like to do the daily check-ins, and even if it's something where we're not physically having you come into the office that day, the further you get out, we're still doing the texting and all of that. And it's for that emotional part more than anything, because the chance of, like, when you send me a picture between, you know, day 11 and 12, the chance of there being something dramatically different is very low. But the, hey, how you doing? Do you need anything? Knowing that you have direct connection, you know, to me or to Haley or to Heather or somebody, I think mentally helps. And there's this 2-week slump that I always talk to patients about, where the first week is more like kind of survival mode, where you're just like in the acute recovery of just like, okay, I'm taking this medicine, I'm doing this, I'm doing the hyperbaric. The second week, you are in your brain starting to feel like yourself, but you still look different. And that, I think, is where that mental dichotomy comes in of like, okay, I still am not looking great yet, and I'm ready to look great because I'm feeling good and I want to get back to life. And we're like, you're not allowed to do anything yet. And so,
like wash your hair.
and so
Exactly.
that's something that can be challenging. But it is good to remind you that, like, washing your hair, if that's the worst of things, like, that's actually pretty darn good.
Exactly. It's like, that's so bad.
You learn how great it is when you get to. That was last night. I was so happy.
And we call mental health showers, like, just how, like, refreshed you feel after getting to do that shower, I think is really good.
Well, can I just add one more thing, is that I think that what I love about the aftercare and being in contact with your office and all your great staff is that you don't feel like you just, you know, someone just brought you in, did surgery, you paid all this money, and you never see them again. You know how you get a service and then you like never hear from them again? And I've had lasers before and things, and you're like calling out to them and they don't respond, and you're feeling like you have all these questions, and you just spent, you know, X amount of dollars. But when you have that professional following you, it just gives you that extra layer of, wow, this is what I'm paying. I'm also paying for this amazing aftercare. It's not just the surgery. It's the pre, during, and post that makes the difference between an excellent surgeon and a superior. It's that extra.
That was why I chose you, was because of your pre and post surgery care. You were the only one I interviewed around the country. You were the only one that was like, no, this is how you're doing it. And I liked it.
And